Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome back. This is Dave Cooper, DaveCooper.live. And today, do we have a show for you? It's going to be a ton of fun. Look at my camera all over the place. So here's the deal, right? Every year we have some magnificent conferences that we go to. And this year is no different. World of Modular is one of those conferences. And it's virtual this year. And man, is it going to be a presentation like no other. So I'm really excited about bringing up today's episode with everybody. But let's get into it first. So I'm Dave Cooper again, and at DaveCooper.live, we are bringing you the people and the processes that are building it better. Our guests and topics include experts in building systems to building science, building codes, and the tech used to build it better. We are seeking out the best and the brightest in construction and discovering all the innovative ways to build, and today is no different. So, like I said, we are going to be talking about World of Modular with Tom Hardiman today. We had a little bit of show change in our show topics, but that's all right. So, listen, without further ado, why don't we bring Tom in to the presentation, and we're going to do a little intro sizzle reel. But first, let's talk to Tom. Hey, what is happening, Mr. Hardiman?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for jumping in for today. I really do appreciate your time, and what a great way to introduce what's happening at World of Modular, right?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Why don't we do a brief little intro reel what the World of Modular is, and then we'll jump into our presentation.
Perfect.
We are so glad to have you here. So glad to get this conference started.
I think if you're in the modular industry or want to get into it, I think World of Modular is probably a must.
The best part of the World of Modular for me is just the networking with other companies.
All right, Mr. Tom Hardiman. I love it. So World of Modular last year, I mean, it had a carnival-like, presence to it. The speakers were phenomenal. The vendors and the trades and everybody that was at this event, it was a magnificent event in my opinion. And I'm really, really curious. I think like a lot of other people is, man, how do you top such a great event?
I'm fortunate that I have a fantastic team that plans this conference for us. Stephen Williams has been doing this for over 20 years. So I just turn the whole thing over to him, and he knocks it out of the park every year for us. Last year was phenomenal. We had over 1,000 attendees, great speakers. And for anyone that's been to these conferences, they know we like to have a little fun while we're there. So there's some games and lots of prizes. And it's, we were fortunate in that we got our 2020 conference in just in time. Our conference ended on Friday, March 13th, and by Monday, the whole world had shut down due to COVID. So we just snuck it in just under the wire. Really, at the time, I had no idea that, come this time that we'd still be planning a digital conference. But that is, in fact, what we're doing. It's an all-digital conference, but it's given us some opportunities to do some very unique things that I'm sure we can talk about here in a minute.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody. So for everybody out there watching, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Tom, why are we live on Twitch?
I have no idea.
Because that's where the young people are. And Greg Ugaldi, who is the immediate past chairman of the NAHB, he always comes. What?
Not a young guy. Not young.
I'm sitting here going, what is my mic not working?
No.
Yeah, well, hey, join the club. But you know what we need is we need young people in our industry. And
We
so that's
do.
why we're on Twitch as well. So if you're not on Twitch, go to it. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe. So with that said, Tom is the executive director of the Modular Building Institute, as well as the Modular Home Builders Association. Before we jump into World of Modular, Tom, why don't you give everybody just a brief background on who you are? Most people are going to know who you are. And then let's jump into some of the things that you're working on behind the scenes. And then we're going to, then about 10 minutes in, we'll jump into World of Modular stuff. What do you think?
Sure, that's perfect. Thank you.
Hop into it.
Okay, so yes, I'm the, as Dave mentioned, executive director for the Modular Building Institute. That's International Trade Association for the commercial and multifamily sectors of modular construction. Been that director since 2004, so this is my 18th year. About 2012, I took over as the director of the Modular Home Builders Association, separate association focused exclusively on single-family modular homes. So we've got about 150 members in the residential group and about 470 in the Commercial Modular Building Institute. We run both of those trade associations out of our office here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Got a staff of 10 folks, including myself, that do that. And we do everything for both associations: lobbying, marketing, business development, conferences, you name it, we do it. So if you got a modular question, we're your guys.
Yeah, you guys really are. I mean, and the people that sit on the board and the people that really help make up, MBI and MHBA are all experts, all been in the field for a long time. And let's get into the lobbying side of this a little bit, because codes are changing, always changing, and they're not always for the better for our industry. You guys are always out there lobbying to better what we're doing in offsite construction, specifically modular and volumetric. What do you have on the books right now to help better and make it easier for us as modular offsite builders?
Yeah, great question, and thanks for teeing that up for me. We've on the commercial and residential side, there are any number of issues that could derail a project or a company or an industry, and we're always making sure we're keeping an eye on that, the watchdog, making sure there's nothing harmful that's going to hit us. At the same time, we don't want to be reactive all the time. So we've got a government affairs director and a government affairs committee that regularly is promoting modular construction, educating code officials, lobbying to get our agenda introduced rather than playing defense all the time. And I'll give you a couple quick examples. We may have touched on this last time I was on the call, but we're currently working with the International Code Council, ICC, to develop two industry standards, two ANSI standards for offsite construction. Those are both slated to be finished this September, but we have already submitted those standards for inclusion in the 2024 IBC and IRC. So if those get incorporated in the standards, once states start adopting the 2024 codes, there will be a uniform standard way to review and approve modular projects, residential and commercial. I should say off-site, because it would include tiny homes and panelized as well. So that's a huge initiative we're working on to try to standardize the approval process across the country, which, as we all know, is a bit of a challenge with 35 different state programs. The other thing we're doing is rather than just waiting for issues to hit, we have a lobby firm on retainer in DC, in California, and in New York, as well as in Canada right now. And just candidly, housing seems to be the hot topic. How do we address housing? We're hearing it from the federal, state, local levels. We're trying to position modular as a more viable solution for all these agencies to address their housing needs. And we're not just talking about affordable housing or homeless or, on that lower income level. We're just talking about housing inventory in general, multifamily, apartments, condos, you name it. Seems to be a huge opportunity for this industry, and we're getting very good reception from policymakers that they want to learn more on how our industry can help them meet their needs. So
Yeah.
enormous opportunities out there for the industry.
Well, it's super important, and for people to understand exactly what you guys are doing, and also, Tom, how do they get involved in some of these policy making decisions and be part of helping spread the word and drive these things through ICC and the other codes that you're doing? Because I mean, it takes a team of people, and there's a bunch of you at work doing this.
Yeah, well, I'll just cut to the chase. MBI and MHBA, we're membership-based organizations. We're trade associations. So if you're in this industry, you need to join one or both of those trade associations. That's how you get involved. You become a member. You say, hey, I'm interested in the Government Affairs Committee. Get me plugged in. And then we have calls all the time with state code officials in Maryland, Virginia, and just Michigan, all across the country.
Right.
That's your chance to say, I'm in Texas. I'm in the modular industry. I can have a relationship with the agency that writes the rules that impacts my own industry. Why wouldn't you want to help write the rules that regulate your own industry? I mean, it's, again, a big opportunity. And all we ask is join and support our efforts. So it does require a little bit of a step forward on behalf of the company to say, okay, I'll join, I'll support you.
Well, and I agree with that. And I will say, until I started doing all these interviews and attending all of these events over the last, it's been probably 6-7 years where I've really have gotten super involved. I don't think a lot of people realize how much that you do. I don't think a lot of people realize, what is being stopped from happening on occasions versus what happened. So there's two sides of the story. And, I want to put it up my soapbox, right? You have to be involved. We need to get into the, the associations, whether, like your association or if you're an offsite in general. You got the NAHB, which you guys have been collaborating with. You have your MBI, MHBA, if you're a modular home builder, single family, residential, even commercial, as well as MBI, right, for the bigger commercial stuff as well. And I think that people that are just sitting back on the sidelines today and watching, it's a bad move, and it's not that expensive to get into. And here I am. I'm not pushing membership for you, Tom, but I am pushing people to get involved.
Well, it's not only a bad move, it's just a huge missed opportunity. Yeah. And, obviously I'm biased, but I tell people, just think of us as a very inexpensive staff person. That it's just this jack of all trades staff person. I got an issue with the code problem. Let me call MBI. I got an issue. I'm trying to hire somebody. I wonder if MBI's got any names for me. People call us all the time for any number of reasons, most of which we can help them with, or at least point them in the right direction. But it's just a, missed opportunity if you're not involved in taking advantage of the services we offer.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, all right, let's do this. Let's say hi to a couple folks that are here, and then we're going to jump into breaking news, World of Modular. We'll put that on the screen in a second, but let's just go here and say hello to some people. We have Jody Gingiss. Hey, Jody, how are you? Happy Monday. I love it. Thanks for joining us today, Jody. We got Anthony Goudet. What's happening, Anthony? He says he's so ready for World of Modular 2021. That is what WOM means, WOM. Who else do we have? Hey, Mark Bare Naked Willie. What's happening, Mark? World of Modular Building Institute is where I introduced Dave Cooper and Andrew Seeley. Wow, how time flies. You know what? You're right, man. It was quite.
Let me tell you something right there. Pause right. So many things happen at World of Modular that are not on our agenda. Exactly what Mark said. People meet. It was this time last year that I think Vaughn Buckley dreamed up the MMC concept that just took off. That was at our conference. He was there, met with some people, sketched out a plan on a napkin, and off they went.
No doubt. Hey, you're right. In fact, there was a lot of that happened overseas. I'm clicking that again. Even for myself, all the folks from Poland, international contingencies that were there. There's work now happening between United States, members and European members that are collaborating on projects. And this all started at World of Modular. And these aren't $100,000 projects. These are multi-million-dollar projects. And I think
some money to be made. The attendees.
Yeah.
Are typically the company owners and presidents and CEOs. There's some deals happening that, at the bar, after the sessions are over.
Right. And
Sure.
there was plenty of bars. I love that place. Hey, it was a good time. You're absolutely right. There is a ton that came out of World of Modular. I'm not ashamed to say it. It was by far one of my most favorite events that I attended, for the sheer fact of the level of people that were there. They were all, it was like going to the A-Team's party, right? At a celebrities type thing. So, all right, moving on. We got, man, there's a lot of people who must like you. We got George Ryman. Twitch will reduce the amount of gray in your beard.
Ouch.
You must be talking to
No,
Tom.
wait,
not
who's he
me.
talking to? He's
I
talking
just
to
got
Dave.
white hair.
He's talking to Dave.
MBI, see Andrew Sealy. MBI is key for helping us to grow the market industry connections and a great value for those who don't already know. And that's right. Mark just said is where Andrew and I met for sure, from Andrew's G Pods, man. He's doing amazing things.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the building's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yep.
Absolutely gorgeous. All right. Moving down. All right. Jennifer, who is in the background. Will we see Jim Gabriel and John Buongiorno at World of Modular?
You know you will. John is actually on our board of directors. Jim's a great guy. Both of them are members. They will be presenting their case study, their healthcare case study.
Yep.
It's a great session. Anytime we get a chance for someone asking about healthcare, I kind of point them to these guys and say, this is how you do it.
Well,
so, yes.
if everybody if it tuned in during COVID, we did an emergency pediatric edition for Good Samaritan Hospital, and that was with Access Construction, John Buongiorno. I said his name wrong once, and he said I had to say it that way, so that's why I over elaborated on his name, or over whatever, pronunciate his name now. And and Jim Gabriel of Mod Logic, who is also a member, was the manufacturer for that project. And it was a great project. We did a 3 or 4 day shoot there. So go check it out. By the time we set that hospital and they were seeing patients was only 11 weeks. And we can't even do single family homes that fast. So it's amazing.
Yeah. They're giving a presentation. They're doing a case study on that project for the conference. So.
Oh, good. They can use my videos to remember everything. I love it. They were great to work with. All right, moving on. We got Thomas Coronado, the best banker around with the biggest hat around, Citizens Bank. So if you want to know about modular financing, Tom Coronado is the guy to do it. And
if you want to know about collecting some really cool stuff, Tom's also into he's like a picker, I think. A little bit of a find some really cool stuff.
In Western wear, and they find stuff where they find it and they buy it for $10 and then they sell it for hundreds of thousands. It blows my mind with those guys.
It's my dream job.
Him and his brother, banking and picking. Love it. Thanks for joining us, Tom. Anthony, good. The code changes and topics being addressed are very exciting for sure, particularly with regards to the agencies and housing shortage solution for sure. All right, let's move on here. What do we got? Jennifer said a shout out to Vaughn Buckley and Colby Swanson of the MMC, because that is where it started. And we also have Jude joining us. What is happening, Jude? Looks like she's inviting some other people to the show. Here's a question. It looks like from Anthony. Tom Hardiman, Modular Building Institute. I'd like to hear more about the MBI podcast and global networking opportunities. Why don't we save that for the end of the show, because you can plug that. I want to get into World of Modular first. So
okay.
Let's do it. Let's put up the breaking news here. World of Modular. Here we go, Tom. Talk to us about it. Tell us what's happening, and then we'll jump into who's going to be there and what's going on.
Yeah, so obviously it's going to be an all digital conference this year, which frankly creates some challenges for us. But we're not looking at this as a negative. We're looking at it as an opportunity to do some things that we historically haven't had a chance to do, which is reach a much larger global audience. We're without travel expenses and restrictions, unlimited number of global attendees. We are seeing companies that would typically send 1 or 2 people are now registering 8, 10, 12, 15 people from their company. So it's a chance to expose other people in your company to MBI and to this conference. We've expanded the format. We're no longer restricted by the number of breakout rooms that a hotel has. We have over 60 breakouts that will be happening during the week of March 8th through the 12th. And we expect we'll probably have about 80 by the time it's all said and done. We're still getting people sending us comments. So This is a week-long celebration of international modular construction. And we're going to have the who's who of speakers. We've got the chief economist from Associated Builders and Contractors. We've got the chief economist from Associated General Contractors. We've got Mark Farmer, who was a guest on your show not too long ago. He's going to give us the UK outlook. Like I said, 60 breakouts. We're going to get
who's the keynote this year?
So the two economists and Mark Farmer, and we're going to have a fourth keynote that we have not yet landed on. So we have 4 keynotes, just all day of Zoom meetings, and we're not expecting people to literally sit in front of their computer all day for 5 straight days. But at any time throughout the day, you can check in, catch a session, go have your lunch. There will be something going on all day long. The other thing this does, it allows us to accommodate at least 12 different time zones. So we're trying to schedule this so that half the country at any given time, it's kind of a sweet spot for them to tune in. So right now we're about 6 weeks out. We've got over 200 attendees. We've got, like I said, 60 breakouts. A lot of code officials have registered. We've got over 30 code officials, state program officials, which is good. We want them there to learn about our industry and ask questions. So
that's a good point. So if you're out there and you know of code officials that may want to join this, or you think should join in your local communities and your local towns, we should have them sign up so they can listen to this stuff and be part of it, because they can really help drive change.
Absolutely. And we'll give them a free pass if it's a code official. So we want them there learning about this. It's going to help all of us in the long run.
All right. So that does not mean everybody runs out and starts going to code official school. Is there such a thing, code official school?
I think there is.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to put a banner up for that all by its own here. Free pass, code officials. So with that said, Tom, walk us through some of the breakouts. Are they broken into categories, whether it's European or whether it's that affects, the United States? I'm sure there's going to be everything from setting modules, transporting module to hotel industry, all of that stuff. What are some of the big ones that most people are signing up for?
Yeah, so we've got this platform. It's called Event Mobi is the platform. It's the same format we've used for the past 5 years for our app. We have all of our member attendees plugged into it. You can message with an attendee directly. You can set an appointment with another attendee directly, and they can accept or decline it. We have a trade show and exhibit hall, which we'll have right now. We've got 28 digital booths, but the sessions are tagged, if you will. Maybe it's case study or design considerations, code compliance. So they've got tags on them. So literally what you can do is when you open up that digital platform, you can click on, say, multifamily, and it'll pull up every session in the conference that's tagged multifamily. Then you just click a button and create your own agenda. So it gives you, the attendee, really the experience to set your own agenda at a click of a button. So if you want sessions on sustainability, click a button, it'll pull up all the sustainability sessions. Add to your calendar, add the networking events to your calendar, and there's your customized schedule. Yeah. So any given time, there will be anywhere from 3 to 5 concurrent breakouts going on. So you got a ton of choices.
If I miss a session, is this all being recorded?
Yeah, most of the sessions, it'll be a Zoom type platform, but it'll be within this Event Mobi window. So you'll go there, you'll see our whole agenda. It'll say breakouts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You pick one that you want to go to, you watch it. We will have the ability to record them all. And likely what we'll do is after the conference is over, put out some kind of, post World of Modular, in case you missed it, here's the sessions.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, all right, hopping post World of Modular. Speaking of post World, what do you see happening this year in construction? What do you see happening in modular? Do you see it continuing forward? Do you consider, are we going to see a dip? Have the economists that are going to be speaking at the World of Modular given you any insight to this stuff?
I love these economists because they're honest. They'll say, we're going to have 2 economists on the agenda. So it's going to be interesting to say, well, the guy yesterday said, play them against each other.
Yeah.
I'm the eternal optimist. I'm the guy that thinks the industry is just right at the breaking point where it's going to explode. I still feel that way. I felt that way for 18 years, but I think now more than ever, I have the data to back that up. The trends, all the reasons we've talked about, the labor shortages, the housing shortages, the need to invest in educational facilities. My goodness, if we didn't know we needed to invest in healthcare infrastructure, we sure do now.
Right.
We have massive infrastructure needs in the U.S. and around the world, and we have labor shortages, and we have a stronger need for environmental construction and worker safety. All those things point to our industry, all of them.
They do. They really do. And what are some of the programs at World of Modular towards getting, labor in our industry and driving that forward? Is that a big topic of conversation?
Well, it is one of the great things. We have our agenda and our speakers, but the great thing about our industry, and I think you know this, Dave, you could talk to a manufacturer and say, hey, are you having trouble finding workers? And what do you do? They're willing to share best practices with one another. And
Right.
That hasn't always been the case. But we're finding that people are willing to get up and just say, here's the challenges I'm having. What are you doing about material price escalation? Do you have a clause in your contract? Oh, they're sharing these things because they're realizing we're going to all grow as an industry, or we're all going to struggle as an industry.
Well, isn't that true? And I've been saying this all along, and I'm not going to put my soapbox back up there, Tom. But the reality of it is, if somebody actually had the secret sauce, we wouldn't only be 3%, 4%, 5% of the market. We wouldn't be, right?
Yeah.
So I think the collaboration amongst our industry right now, whether it's modular, panelized, concrete, whatever it is, there's only one way for all of us to go, and that is up. Period. Yeah. And I agree.
I don't think it's going to be this. We went from 3% to 25%. We've gone from, on the commercial side, 2.5% to 4% in 5 years. And people think, oh, big deal. That's not much. That's a 60% increase in market share in 5 years.
Right.
Pretty significant. It's still just 4%, but we're, I think I kind of equate it to, we're more like that fullback in football. We're going to get you 4 yards, first down, 4 yards. We're just going to keep grinding, and we're going to keep growing. We may not, connect on that Hail Mary and get the huge gain, or we might, but we're just going to keep growing this thing. And that requires, constant education of code officials,
Right.
Owners, developers, architects, contractors, our members stepping it up and, constantly building better products and safer work environments. So it's just, It's an all-in effort.
Yeah, well, it really is. What has you most excited about the World of Modular? Is there one thing that really stands out this year for you?
I don't get excited about anything, Dave. No, I get jacked up about this. If I wasn't doing this and I were just studying industries, I would look at this industry and say, oh my gosh, this thing is going to explode. I get excited about the industry. I get excited that I have an opportunity to be the director of an entire industry that's about to change. I still think it's about to change. TV, computers, telecommunications, all those things have advanced and modernized. Construction's still in that trying to figure it out stage. Are we construction? Are we manufacturing? Are we this off-site thing? But to be in a position to help guide and lead that, man, that's exciting stuff.
It is. I mean, one, we have a nomenclature, like our name, like what do we call ourselves, always been a big thing. But when we talk about this industry exploding, and I want your opinion on this, and I'll give you mine. Do you actually see it happening from within, or do you see outside newcomers, fintech, coming into this space like an Uber did, who's the big on, like a Netflix did to Blockbuster? Yeah. Do you see that happening, or do you actually see the internal tried and true modular volumetric folks changing it?
Probably a little of both, I think. Yep. I know there's companies like Google that are interested in this and that are using it. And when you get companies like Google and Facebook and these Amazon that are interested in this, they're going to influence it. They're going to make technology more of a driving factor in it, efficiency. That's good and bad. If Amazon goes all in and says we're going to sell modular buildings or homes, first of all, they're going to have to navigate, 50 state, codes and regulations, but I'm sure they have the resources to do that. It could be good in driving change, and it could also be scary in that, they say we're going to have everything built in China and shipped here. So I think it's a good balance. We've got companies that have been in this industry for decades, and they're great companies, family-owned businesses, highly successful, third generation taking over now. And, I love those companies. They're our bread and butter companies of our industry.
Yep.
And then we get companies that kind of pop in with the, like you say, the secret sauce, the next great thing. Oh, this is going to revolutionize the industry. And I'm kind of like, all right, join MBI or join MHBA. And sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't.
Right.
I think it's just, I don't think it's going to explode like an Uber. I think it's going to be, we've had some starts and stops. We've had some companies jump in and then back out. But I do think it's going to be more of the traditional construction industry migrating towards modular versus, modular just growing organically. I think it's going to be, we're seeing some of that, large GCs saying we're going to open a modular division, or we're going to do, more modular. I think owners and developers are the ones that are really going to demand it. They're going to demand it. What, cat's out of the bag. You can get your hotel or your apartment building done 8 months sooner. What owner is going to say, just keep building it the way you've been building it? They're going to say, wait, what? 8 months sooner? Why aren't I doing that? Why isn't my construction team looking at that? They're going to demand it. And that's going to drive the growth.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, I do think, I agree with you. I think it's gonna be a little bit of both. I do think there's going to be some disruption in the technology side of this and things that are coming down the pipeline, and for some early adopters. I think the tried and true generational modular builders that have been in this space for 20, 30, 50 years, I think it's a little harder for them because it's that they're already busy. How do you stop and redefine what you're doing, and then and plug new technology in? Because when it slows down, everybody starts tightening their pockets, right? We don't spend then. We've learned that over the years. So I think it's going to be a little bit of both, because what we're seeing now is there's a lot of technology companies, consultants from Europe in here in Canada that have systems in place where they can start plugging and playing. So, all right, well, we're going to increase your capacity by 20%. We're not going to shut your lines down to put all these new things in, So I do think it's going to be a little bit of both. But I do see the fintech, and I do see some of these manufacturers coming online that are doing some pretty amazing things with very little labor costs. And for the multifamily stuff, even residential, it's going to be fun to watch. Do they make it? Do they not? We'll see.
Yeah, and I do think you're right. I think more along the lines of advances in equipment and technology that you can use in the factory to be more efficient, less waste. Those things are going to start to be implemented. And again, having a global audience that shares best practices and networks on all these different formats. Yeah. Just makes it so much easier to reach out. Oh, now I know the person at that company in Sweden. Yeah. Let me give them a call and have them come in my factory. So world's getting smaller.
Yeah, it really is. So speaking, you guys launched the MBI over in Europe. Was it 2 years ago now? 3 years?
Yeah, so we created a European council. We've got about 25 members in Europe,
right?
And we felt like we needed to make them feel like they're a part of this organization. It's not, I'm a European company and that's an American association. We wanted really this is a global organization, and you're the European Council. So we've got about 25 members. We did a conference there in Poland last year, Krakow, Poland. It was great. Fantastic. We had several of our companies, DMD hosted at their factory.
Yep.
I think we had 80 or so people there. We were slated to be in Italy in 2020. And man, what a bummer. We had to cancel that one. So we're talking about, are we going to be able to get back to an in-person meeting in later 2021? And we hope we can, but we've got a great group of really passionate, engaged European members. They're here all the time. We're having calls. They're sharing things. We're learning from them. They're learning from us. So it's really a really cool group to be with. We've also created a Canadian council and have about 60 members up there, and a South American council. So we're creating these little pockets of membership really all over the world. So
Right.
that's going to help, again, with that sharing of best practices and business opportunities, I think.
Yeah, I believe in that. And I think, hey, I mean, what a perfect Zoom call. You should set it up to where all these different countries have a speaker that comes on and talks about their stuff, and all the members get to tune in and listen to what somebody's doing down in South America or Central America or Europe. And you could have these mini sessions. I'm just giving you ideas, Tom. That's what I would do if I were you.
Well, that is World of Modular. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be sessions from Europe, sessions from South America, Canada. Tune in.
Right. Oh yeah, but hey, but for membership, right? Why let it stop there? You can do little mini sessions in between the big one.
Absolutely.
I love it. So, talking about moving forward on World of Modular and people joining, where do people need to go to join? What are the benefits they're getting from joining and signing up for World of Modular? And what can they expect as far as, when it opens up in the grand start of World of Modular? What are you guys going to do?
Well, taking that, unpacking that a little bit, what do you get from joining? I've always, my background's more government affairs. So I was our government affairs director for 15 years until we hired a dedicated person. So to me, associations exist, if for no other reason than for companies in an industry to get together and have one entity work on common issues, whether that's opportunities or challenges. That's why MBI was created in 1983. A group of businesses got together and said, we've got to work collectively to make our industry better. That's why you have an association. How you define working collectively and what is better, that's really up to the members to get together and say, here's what we want our goals to be this year. Here's what we want you working on. We're really just the conduit that said, let's pull the industry together and have a laser beam focus at whatever issue they want to point at. But the more clout, the more resources we have, the easier that is. And that's a challenge because we work for the benefit of the whole industry, but we don't have the support of the whole industry, if you follow me.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know, but I think that's changing. Like you said, you guys are growing. And I also think that having these international divisions or components of what you guys are doing really just helps bring awareness, and helps. I wouldn't say it's competition, but it just helps raise the level of value that one would get from it. And like I said, I mean, this isn't a sales pitch, but I do believe in what you guys do. I've known you guys for a year, and I partake in MBI and, events in the World of Modular and MHBA as well. And the people that are in these, that are part of your group are world-class individuals throughout.
Yeah, we've got some great leaders on our board and on our committees. And
sure,
Dave, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I'm not going to sell you on something and say you should just do it because. I know there's got to be return on investment for your time and your money, or it doesn't make any sense. And I get that. Right. There is. Trust me, there is. If you take advantage of everything we offer, it's a complete no-brainer. Yeah. You're going to get more than your money's worth.
Yeah, you really do, especially World of Modular. All right, so what keeps you up at night, Tom? Like, what's your biggest headache being the executive director of these organizations? What is the biggest headache that you have to deal with on a regular basis outside of growing membership?
Growing membership's becoming easier. We picked up 132 members last year in MBI, which was during a global pandemic. I mean, that was phenomenal. You got a good business development guy helping me, and Dave Sikora. So I don't know that it gives me a headache, but I've had this concern for a while. We, the association, can sell this idea all day long. It's a great idea. It's a great concept. Who wouldn't buy into it? List all the advantages. And then we turn around and our members aren't taking advantage of the opportunities that are being created for a number of reasons. They're busy, or they don't do housing, or they're not in California, or whatever. It's I'd say capacity issue right now. I guarantee you we could be 10% of the new construction starts today, but we're passing up on the other half of the business opportunities that end up going conventional or not getting built. So that's it doesn't keep me awake at night, but I'm like, if I could wave a magic wand and there could be 100 more modular manufacturers out there that, 10 that did housing in each region, we'd be golden. But
can we just set up modular manufacturers like Amazon distribution points?
Yeah, sure.
That's the way I look at it.
The frustrating thing to me is that, at least at the federal level, there doesn't seem to be any discussion about any strategy about infrastructure, housing, schools, water, sewer, internet, rail. There's no talk about, and I know we've got, some distractions to deal with right now with that whole COVID thing, but there hasn't been for years. There hasn't been a coherent strategy around national infrastructure needs. So it gets very fragmented. We go to the state level or even the local level, and it's time consuming, frankly, to sell this idea and change the rules in 50 states. And if we can, you go to someone like FEMA or HUD, and they keep doing things the way they've always done them, and they wonder why we're falling further and further behind in affordable housing. It's maddening, but we're not going to give up. We're going to keep pounding away at it.
Well, that's it. So let's go to Henry Mickelberg. He had a comment here. So, do you have a cunning plan for when, after years of trying to influence the government, they do 180 and come to you for help in a few months?
Great question. We're starting to see a little bit of that, in particular at the state and local level. We are members of an organization called National Governors Association, and we put out a ton of resources right after COVID on how we can help you with immediate space needs, how we can help you with temporary medical facilities for triage centers, for example, or check-in stations, or housing. And now we are starting to get some state and local, particularly housing authorities, contacting us. Atlanta Housing Authority joined our association because they want to use modular more often. So these are people we used to try to convince. Now they're joining as members. So it's starting to happen. Not quick enough for me, but being on shows like Dave Cooper Live will help spread the word, and everyone will hear about us.
Hey, I love a good plug.
That's
I appreciate it. I appreciate the plug, Tom. I love it. All right, let's see who else we got here. I want to say hi to a few other people. So Henry already tuned in. We got Buzz Holitzer. Hey, Buzz. Good day from Conklin, Michigan. Let's build. I do love it. And George Ryman's out there promoting people to go to World of Modular. Moma Vivo and Surefoot need to attend the World of Modular this year, and I do agree with that 100%. And Jennifer is putting up there, learn more about the keynote. Mark Farmer here. I'd have a feeling that is probably our YouTube channel where you can get an idea of what you're going to hear from Mark Farmer, and I'm sure he's updated the things that he's doing as well. He's a great speaker. And
I think I tuned in when you were interviewing him. I'm like, he'd be a good speaker for World of Modular. So I reached out to him, and he agreed. So
love it. I love it. Well, listen, Tom, man, that's the quickest 45 minutes ever right there, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah.
What haven't we talked about? Because we got a few minutes here. What have we not talked about that you guys are working on that the rest of the world needs to know outside of World of Modular?
Well, we're in the residential side, the MHBA. We have a national campaign that we launched just last year, hired a PR firm. We finally broke down and said, we're a trade association. We're not a marketing firm. Let's hire a PR firm, implement a national campaign, and this is for single-family homes. And the results have been phenomenal. 4-fold increase in our website traffic. The leads are flying in every day. So we're trying to get more potential home buyers to that page to educate them about modular, and then contact one of our builder members. We're putting together a home buyer's guide that'll be a free download for anyone on the MHBA side. So we're trying to build that side up. It's got about 150 members, like I mentioned. No reason that shouldn't be 400 or 500 members for single family. A lot of those guys cross over and do multifamily and commercial, and they should probably be in both groups, frankly. But MHBA, look for some big growth there in 2021. MBI, I think this World of Modular, I know there's people that have doubts. We've got a lot of old school people that don't like Zoom meetings, and I get that. But the fact of the matter is, this is how business is going to be conducted for the next 6, 7, 8 months. And this is going to be the best opportunity for modular construction to learn and get professional development anywhere. Best value anywhere. So,
listen,
adapt, you deal with it, take advantage of it. Don't turn off your computers and say, I'm not participating in anything this year until we get to go back to in-person meetings, because you're going to miss a lot.
You know what? This is my biggest thing that I say, especially on Thursdays on our Increasing Influence show. Social media, Zoom calls, webinars, you're able to connect with more people like this than you ever could throughout the year. That's why I hear it over and over again. I mean, if you're not out here connecting and taking advantage of what COVID has done, right? And what I mean by taking advantage is use it to your advantage. Use it to network. Use it for calls. Connect with people. It's easy. I mean, think about it. I know people are tired of Zoom calls because now you can do 20 meetings in a day versus 2 in the office, right? Or traveling. But the reality of it is it's not going to last forever. And I say it about what we do on the videos and everything else all the time. It's harder than ever to be known out there, right? I mean, there's so much noise. Attention is the #1 asset. And in our industry, you need to be putting yourself out there on these platforms and Zoom and social media, or you're going to be forgotten, because I don't think this is going away anytime soon.
Well, you're exactly right. And I'd say this, even within our world, modular has become quite a popular topic over the last 2-3 years. We're seeing all kinds of conferences, pop up, and suddenly this person's an expert, or they're hosting this forum, and they're all over the place. There's one tomorrow, I think. This World of Modular, 38th year we've done it. The guy that sets it up for us, 20th year he's done it. It's my 18th year. Our business development guy's 10th year. It's put on by the industry for the industry. It's relevant to modular. Yes, there's some academic and research stuff in there, but these are people that have really actually built buildings. Yeah. Not an agenda full of consultants who want to give you advice on how to build buildings. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this is planned by the industry, delivered by the industry, for the industry. So go to those other ones if you want, but not at the expense of missing this one.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, this has been the one that's been around, and I agree with you. And I'm sure there's other good things happening out there. But as far as the who's who and what's what in the industry, definitely, World of Modular and MHBA is the place to be. We're going to go to some more questions here, and then we're going to wrap it up with, what are you seeing from the consumer side at MHBA, since we didn't spend a lot of time talking about it. And I know you hit on it a little bit, but I'd like to see what the growth is there. But first, let's go over here. Tom Reddy, Synergy Steel. So it's Tom Reddy from Synergy Steel. So with the comment of being able to grow 4 to 10% of the building market, does that mean the modular manufacturers have available capacity, or are you expecting additional players to enter the market?
Great question. I think every manufacturer has extra capacity if they want to run a second or third shift. I've always said as the trade association, we can help create opportunities. We can educate our members about the opportunities, but we can't make them take advantage of the opportunities. Someone will. Someone's going to say, there needs to be another manufacturer in the Southeast building multifamily housing. Hint, hint, there needs to be several. But I can't very well criticize a company that's been in business 30 years successfully that doesn't want to open a second factory or run a third shift. It's a risk to them, and I get it, but someone is going to take advantage of these opportunities. It's just the nature of any business. Yeah. There's too much opportunity out there, and we're currently missing a lot of it. I think it'll be what we talked about. Some companies will, and we're seeing a little bit of it, shifting their portfolio a little bit into multifamily. Maybe it's coming out of single family or coming out of education. But there'll be some new factories come online, and there'll be some second plants opened up, and the capacity is there. The factories are there. There's probably a lot of empty factories still available. I don't know what you think about this, Dave, but we might start seeing these, kind of pop-up factories. Like, why wouldn't you take an abandoned Kmart, for example, and, if you got a year-long project, set up some mobile equipment in there, get your staff, do that project, take your equipment elsewhere.
It's happening already. It's happening already. I mean, I think B Marco, those guys have already put something in place for that. So these things are happening, and they're doing it in Europe and in several different locations. So it's only a matter of time that's going to happen, especially with a big project. And with a lot of the old factories too, speaking with people, some of the older ones, they just really kind of need to be knocked down and rebuilt, because it doesn't work for a lot of the new way the lines are being run. So that's some of the stuff that I'm hearing, but there is possibilities for all of that, even if they're smaller manufacturing. He had another follow-up question here. Any tips on how a product supplier can use World of Modular to network and find new customers?
Yes. So if you come to World of Modular, there's this digital platform. Every attendee is going to have a profile on there. Every one of them. It's going to say, I'm Tom Hardiman. I'm with Modular Building Institute. Send me a message, set up an appointment with me, or we can do a live video chat like this. You can connect with, if there's 500 people there, they're all at your fingertips. Email, message, however you want to connect with them. Sort them by type. This guy's a manufacturer. I want to talk to all the manufacturers. Kind of gets back to what Dave's talking about. We're going to put all these prospects at one place for you. You just have to actively participate, show up and say, and even lean on the staff to say, here's who I want to meet. Can you help me meet these people? We do that all the time. I need to meet 5 manufacturers in the Northeast who do X, Y, and Z. All right, here's their names, and here's their email, and here's their VP of sales.
Yeah.
We'll put it out there for you. That's what we do every day, all day long.
Yeah, Tom, I don't know when you joined, but we were talking about it earlier. I mean, that was one of the things that amazed me the most when we were down there. In fact, I was down there with Tom from Howick, right, was there, and we did some interviews. So there was a ton of networking going on. So, and I'm assuming with all these breakout rooms, it's going to afford you the same opportunity to meet and greet people. And if you're not, I'm not ashamed to say it was one of the best events I've been to.
Well, I've got an exhibitor, and he's been doing this for about 10 years. The first time I walked up to him, I said, who do you need to meet to make this a successful conference? And by the way, no one has ever said that to me at any conference I've ever attended.
Yeah.
And I said it to him, and he gave me 3 or 4 names. I'm like, well, let's go. He's right over here, and I'll introduce you to the president of the company.
Yeah.
Well, that's evolved into now he shows up with his list of names for me and hands it to me. Like, here you go, Tom. Here's who I need to meet. I'm like, wow, you just given me, it's like Cousin Eddie and Christmas Vacation. That's real nice. Here's my Christmas list. Go get him.
Yeah, right. I agree. Cousin Eddie, right?
They're there to make connections for business. It's got to be worth their time. So we do it. We'll facilitate that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and it is. And I know, a lot of people, if you're tuning in, this is not a promo. Tom Hardiman does not pay me to do any of these things. I am just a believer in anybody that's doing better for our industry and trying to grow what we do. You guys are doing a great job. All right, we got another comment here. I know this next character. He's saying Dave is the man. Michael Ray White. All right, Michael. So just so everybody understands, Michael and I served together. He's probably one of the best combat trauma medics out there. During our time. So I don't think I've heard from him for God, it's probably over a year or 2 years now. So Michael, I know he says nice beard, getting gray though. He fixed his getting gray. You could have gone without saying that comment, man. But hey, thanks, dude. I hope we can catch up soon. Love it. Great guy. All right. Anthony Goudet says, powerful statement on U.S. infrastructure. 38 years of great work. Thank you all. You do, Dave Cooper, for today's dialogue. Thank you, Anthony. Love it, love it, love it. And that's really it. We got James Good. Michael's telling me I should smile a little bit. I do smile, man. I'm always smiling.
Yeah. Hey, you had a question earlier. Someone asked about the podcast. And
oh, yeah. Let's go back to that. Let me go pull it up, and I'll put it up on the screen real quick. But he did.
So that's on the MBI side. Our marketing director created a new podcast series. And that's an easy way for, say, a new member or an architect or someone. He'll interview them, post it out there. I think there's 15 episodes now. You can go listen to viewpoints from architects, or some of them are, healthcare. So that's all on our website. You can just click on the podcast. If you want to be interviewed, shoot me an email and I'll hook you up with our marketing director and he'll interview you.
Love it. Love it. Hey, listen, I want to be on. Can I be on?
Yeah, sure.
That's all you got to do. I'm just showing people how it's done.
Tom@modular.org is so easy.
I love it. I love it. All right. Tom Reddy says, thank you for a great show and all of the tips. Tom, listen, it has been a great show. We're at our hour mark. I want to thank everybody. Well, you know what? We got some more. James Morley tuned in. See, Jude's out there working for us, bringing people into the show. Thank you, Jude. Love it. Love it. She's
thanks for tuning in.
What's that?
So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We had a lot of people tuning in on all social media. We even had some Twitch comments here, but they were pushing some promos on their own. So they're asking me if I want to become famous. I'm trying, man, every day. It is a little sketchy. Well, hey, listen, the young folks know how to set all this automatic stuff up and spam the daylights out of you. So, anywho, Tom Hardiman, World of Modular. thank you so much for joining us today. Tom, don't go anywhere after the intro. We'll catch up. I'm Dave Cooper. I want to thank everybody out there that joined us today to partake in this conversation. We have a lot coming up this week, so join us tomorrow because we are headed to space. That's right, inner space, with Tony DiCarlo, design-led modular house builder in the United Kingdom. That is tomorrow, Wednesday. We are going to have WZMH Architects with Zenon Radowich on from Canada. See, Tom, we're global as well.
Global. You're global.
We are global. And let me tell you about WZMH Architects. They are not only an architectural firm that has done all kinds of modular, and they've also done some COVID pods that they've created during COVID, but they are world renowned and they have an entire tech side. They're like the Google of architecture. They're developing all their own stuff, looking to run buildings and everything else just on DC. Wait until you have that conversation. Thursday, we're going to have JT Ramsey on, social media manager for Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin. I mean, these aren't small companies. These are big players. He was with Ford prior to that, so we can learn a lot from him, I am sure. And then Friday, we have Anthony Pack on building system, BS Friday, Building Science Friday. He's a principal at Priopta, and we're going to talk about embodied carbon. What do you think of that, Tom?
Sounds like a pretty full agenda.
Dude, every week it's full, and that's what makes it great. We're having experts on. So I love it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Dave Cooper, Tom Hardiman, Executive Director of MBI and MHBA. We'll see you next time. Tune in tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Bye now.
Thank you.